Hi, and thanks so much for joining me for the weekly general reading. My name is Cassie, and I'm the reader behind MomentsAre. So if you need to know anything about me or the channel or the timestamps, that's going to be in the description, okay? I'm not going to waste your time going over everything in the description. I do want to let you know that this is the next 7 days from now, regardless of when you watch this. This is a timeless reading, so you can either watch this the day it goes up, or you can watch it 100 years from now, and we're talking about the next 7 days. All right, guys? And if you ever want to find another reading like this, I put all of these readings on a playlist, so you can always put that on random for the next week and all of that. But I do post these every Monday. It's just that my channel schedule is 5 weeks on and 1 week off, and I just do that so that I can have a whole week to rest my voice and to kind of rejuvenate my energy so that I'm able to put as much into these readings as I can. All right, it's really important to me that I give you accurate readings. And you know, speaking of that, I have a lot of great feedback on these weekly general readings, so I'm really excited to share some accurate information with you. All right, guys. So that all said, oh, and I just wanted to say hi to all of the new viewers. I hope you enjoy it. And to those of you who are subscribers, I love you guys. You know that. I hope. If you don't, I do. If you don't know that, I love you guys. And I look forward to seeing some comments and, you know, seeing how you like this reading. Okay? That said, let's go ahead and pick the piles, okay? Or tell you what the piles are. Okay, so I decided to go with crystals this time. I typically don't do that, but I just felt called. And I also felt called to use a lot more cards, so this is going to be a little bit longer than usual. Okay, so pile number 1 is the green Aventurine. Pile number 2 is this black and white Snowflake Obsidian. Pile number 3 is this desert rose. Pile number 4 is this quartz crystal point. Pile number 5 is this Jasper. And pile number 6 is the Amethyst. All right, guys, so if you have not picked your pile yet, go ahead and pause the video. That way you'll have enough time to pick it. Otherwise, we are going to start with pile number 1. Hi, those of you who picked the green Aventurine, this is your reading. And I just want to say, I thought this was Aventurine for the longest time. And I only recently found out like a couple of months ago. Like, that's how long it took me to realize there's not a D in it. It's Aventurine. So, you learned something new. And speaking of something new, we have the Fool. And, oh, check this out. We have the Fool twice. If you'll see in this traditional deck, the Fool is 0. Okay, it's a new beginnings. It's just setting out. And here we have the Fool again with the 0 card. Okay, new beginnings. So, wow, you're going to start something new this week. That feels very, very strong here. Okay, so we have the Hierophant, which lets me know that you're going to be learning a lot this week as well. You might be having to go socialize. I say having to because, of course, I'm an introvert, and so that feels like it's an energy drain for me, but some people love it. So if you're one of those people that love it, go ahead and enjoy it. But I do feel like this is the Hierophant. It can sometimes mean like kind of getting into that time where you learn social rules and you learn morality, but it can also be the time where you start going to school as a child and you're first starting to learn things about like basically what you need in order to prepare for the next level. Okay, so I really feel like this is kind of is reading together as you're starting something new and you're learning about what you need in order to start this new I'm getting project. It's probably a project, okay? And then we have the 7 of Cups over here, which lets me know that you're going to have a lot of different ways to go about bringing this to fruition, okay? So for those of you who picked this pile, I feel like you guys are really creative. You are going to be you're going to be doing something that you have a lot of flexibility in, and it does feel like it's a positive thing, very, very positive. Let's go ahead and look at the other one. So we have the stork followed by the anchor. How interesting, because we have like the stork typically means movement, or sometimes it can mean changes. Okay, so you know, of course, starting something new is an obvious change, but I feel like this is more about movement. So I feel like this is about moving forward with your plans or your goals. And the anchor is like, it's a stabilizing moving forward. Okay, so if there's something that you have been thinking about needing to do to help kind of get you more emotionally stable, or maybe financially stable. I'm getting a lot of emotional and finances as far as that stuff, as far as the main concerns for you guys. Then this is basically your week to take that forward. And I'm probably getting that because we have the cups, which indicates emotions, and the anchor. I always just associate that with finances. I just want to be very clear about why I'm saying what I'm saying. Typically because fish are associated with finances, and the anchor obviously goes in water. So that's where I'm going that. Oh, okay. So we have truth. Okay, so your throat chakra, I just pointed to my throat as if you could see me do that. So your throat chakra is going to be really open, and I feel like it's balanced and healthy. I don't feel like this is a negative thing. It feels like a very open, balanced, and healthy time for you guys. And so you're going to be noticing that you can influence your situation by being not only authentic, and the Fool is really about authenticity. He doesn't know, or she, right? They don't know how to be anything but themselves. They're too naive to be anything else, right? If you've ever spent a time around maybe a 3 or 4-year-old, you will notice that they are fully themselves. And it's like, that's the kind of energy that I get from this. It's just somebody who they have to be themselves. So I feel like this truth card is talking about, and I'm supposed to tell you that this is from the Swatches of Chakra deck. I got this on Etsy. It's a little mini deck. I like it though. It's pretty cool. But just so you know. But yeah, it's not just about speaking your truth. It's like being honest in being able to affect the situation because you are being honest and sincere, and so people trust that. But it's also about being fully yourself too, because the throat chakra isn't just about communicating with your throat. It's also about communicating with your body language, with your with being consistent. There's so many different ways we communicate, right? And it's also about having some clear thoughts. So something, even though we have a cloud here, and I do associate clouds with like cloudier thinking, I do feel like for the most part, this week is going to be pretty clear when it comes to your thoughts. So you are going to be able to have clarity. I feel like there's a lot of energy. And again, you're starting out something, and it's going to be very positive. Let's see what these say. Okay, so we have something having to do with family. We've got the Weeping Willow. The Weeping Willow, trees have to do with like the family trees and all of that kind of stuff. So the Weeping Willow is talking about sadness when it comes to the family, okay? So there might be something in the background going on that is affecting a family member. In fact, as I'm touching this, I'm getting like there might be a family member that's sick and that you're worried about this family member. I can't tell you how it's going to turn out. I can just say that that is going to be kind of in the back of your mind. It's not going to be getting in the way of your plans or anything. So it can't be too strong, or else it would be the focus here. But I am getting that there's concern for a family member here. Okay, so keep that in mind. And then we have Bowl, plenty of material things. Yeah, I was wondering if we were going to get a card like this. Yeah, like I said, that anchor kind of clued me in that this might have to do with money or being more successful with finances or materials. And like I'm getting, for some of you, it has to do about moving materials around. So some of you guys might start like maybe a craft shop, or I'm just trying to think of what that might look like. But yeah, it's like you're experiencing having more than what you absolutely positively need, which is a really, really good feeling for you, because it's like you have freedom. And with the Fool, you know, in New Beginnings, it feels more freeing, especially when you have the Seven of Cups. It gives you all of those options. But like the Fool is so free and so unrestricted by anything that they're willing to walk off a cliff. You know, it's like they don't care. But it's because they trust the journey. And I do have to mention, for those of you who don't know, and even for those of you who do, sometimes people look at the Fool's journey through the Major Arcana, which is basically the story of the first 22 cards, okay? As he is up in heaven right now. Here, he's in the afterlife here, and he's about to fall down to earth and incarnate into a body, right? So it does take a lot of trust to start something new, like a new life, right? And so that is another thing that is associated with the Fool, which I like. One thing that I also like about it is that we've got this dog, so we have also a lot of loyalty and all of that kind of stuff. I do feel like it's meaningful in this particular card, because I feel like it's important for you to know that you have people that really want to support you in what you're doing, okay? So this was a little bit like, there's just one thing here and let's really talk about it, but it looks positive. And, you know, it does look like this, there might be some family stuff going on, okay? You know, it also, I mentioned maybe somebody who's sick. I'm also getting like maybe there's just a family member that is an issue, gets on people's nerves, and there might be a little bit of drama. But it's weird because I really don't feel like it's a big issue. It feels like it's a smaller issue. It's not like a big mountain in your way. It's like a speed bump, that kind of thing. So I feel like it's just something that is going to be concerning, but it's not going to be like the worst thing in the world, okay? So keep that in mind, regardless of what the cards say. I hope you have a wonderful week. All right. And be sure to join me for our longer reading this week, and also for the weekly love reading on Friday. Thank you so much. Hi, those of you who picked the Snowflake Obsidian. Yeah, here is your reading. So we have the Two of Pentacles, Temperance. Okay, and the 10 of Wands. Let's go ahead and turn over some other cards. We have Spiritual Strength. Okay. We have the Bear, followed by the Ship. We have Creativity. We have the Apple, and we have the Teardrops. Okay, this is really interesting. It feels to me like there's something going on in the background in your mind, okay, that is causing some emotional disruption this week, okay? It's like there's something that you can't stop thinking about, or it's very difficult to stop thinking about. It's like you're waiting for something to return to you, or you're waiting for, or it could be that you're like wanting something, but you know that you can't have it. Like, you know you're not supposed to have it right now. But it still is giving you a lot of frustration, a lot of, well, you know, with the teardrops, we're talking about personal sorrow. Okay, so this is something that is really, really dear to you, really something you value that you can't have right now. And because you can't have that, it's affecting how stable you feel, okay? And the advice I'm getting is that this week, you're still gonna feel like you want that thing, okay? I feel like this apple, which typically stands for temptation, and while there might be some tempting things, you know, in the next week that's like, I want to do that thing, even if it's not the best thing for me. Like, I want to eat like 3 pieces of cake, you know, that kind of thing. You know, while that stuff might happen, I'm getting that it has much more to do with this kind of like longing, or this kind of desire that you have, that you want something, but it's like, it's weird because you know it's not the right time, but it's like you still want it so much that it's like you're trying to kind of like manifest it more quickly than it's, I suppose, maybe meant to be. And I have a good story here, like written out with these cards on how you can get through this, okay? So this week, looks like there's going to be sorrow, emotional turbulence there in the background while you're trying to weigh your decisions and be practical and kind of plant yourself in what you know you're supposed to be focusing on. My advice to you here, though, is we have the creativity card here, and this is connected to the second chakra, okay? And we're talking about really expressing your emotions through art, through music, through you can write, you can dance, you can just doing something creative, whatever it is that you do. Maybe it's knitting, or maybe it's, some people, their creativity is put into like playing video games, or put into like strategizing, like with chess and stuff like that. But whatever it is, you're going to be able to burn off that kind of like turbulent energy by being creative, okay? And by understanding that right now it's not just right yet for this to come. What I am getting, though, is that it's almost like you're being tested right now, and it really feels awful, or it might. For those of you who aren't really, really strong in your conviction that this is going to happen, because I do feel like eventually you are going to get what you want. It might not be in the same way that you think, but you are still going to get the essence of what you want, and you'll be very happy with that. But it's like right now you're being called to use your spiritual strength and really trust that the universe is going to provide this for you, and really believe in, I feel like you already know this, and just know it's not the right time. Like I said, the creativity is one thing that you can do. And then here we've got the 10 of Wands, which I think is a really, really fortunate card to get, because it gives us instruction on, well, what can you do? Focus on figuring out what it is you need to let go of, so that there's space in your life to allow this new thing to come in. Or it might not be new. I feel like it's kind of a nostalgic pull. So I feel like it actually might be something from your past that needs to come back into your life, or it might be something you've been longing for a very, very long time that needs to come back into your life. But yeah, we have that. We also have you trying to just balance tasks, just general tasks this week. Like, and this is like almost like the most mundane task you could think of, okay? It's like this, we're not talking about like having to figure out, it's not something, this feels like it's just day-to-day stuff. It doesn't feel like it's a big deal, but it does feel like that's gonna be a challenge for you. And I think it's because your mind is gonna be really on this kind of emotional stuff. So it's kind of like you've just got to grind through the week so that you can just, get to that point where you've figured out whatever it is you need to release. You might want to release that through creativity, because these two cards are definitely connected with that. Know that right now you're just being called to be spiritually strong, and it's almost like it's a frustrating card, but it's also almost comforting to me when I touch it, especially to know that right now isn't the time. It's coming later on. Again, we have this bear, which it's interesting because the bear is typically interpreted in one way with the Norman, but I do things very intuitively. So I interpret these intuitively. I feel like the bear is actually representing this kind of big thing that is kind of eclipsing everything else in your life, and that the ship is representing how long it's going to take before it gets to you. So it's a long time. Okay. I'm being told that for some of you, it could be 2 to 3 months. I'm also being told, but that's not for all of you guys, okay? So keep that in mind. But for some of you, it's going to be a while. And then, but again, it just feels like there's going to be this feeling that this week is supposed to be for something else that you really, really want. You've been putting a lot of energy to, but they're just saying not yet. It's coming, but not yet, okay? So right now, focus on getting just your basic tasks done. Focus on trying to find some balance. understand you might be tempted with something, and that you might be going through some kind of grief because you're not getting this yet, okay? And that's fine, that's appropriate. Don't, well, I mean, you can do what you want, but I would advise not to hold in those emotions, because those emotions, when they are expressed, that is a form of releasing, okay? And so that can be that catalyst to figure out what you need to get rid of. It could just be that you need to purge that, or you need to go through the full grieving process so that you can make way for whatever it is that you want to come back to you in a way that is more healthy for you, all right? Gosh, I wish I could tell you more, but it just feels like this is a very, like, kind of, you know, this is going to be the way your week is. And, you know, regardless of what the cards say, I hope you have a wonderful week. But just know creativity and figuring out what you need to remove from your life so that you can make way for that new stuff. And just, it's going to feel a little emotionally turbulent. In fact, for some of you, it's going to feel a lot with this grieving card. And just know your mind's going to be distracted. Make sure that you are taking care of yourself with this Temperance card. It's just talking about just really finding that balance, okay? All right, guys. Again, I hope you have a wonderful week regardless. And thank you so much for joining me. I will see you later on this week with a longer reading, and Friday for the weekly love reading. All right, hi, those of you who picked the Desert Rose. Here is your reading. Okay, so we have the Queen of Wands. Ooh, I'm getting that this is actually a figure. This is like probably a person in your life. It doesn't matter. The gender doesn't matter. It could be a male or a female. This would be a person in your life that's very warm to you. Somebody who feels very, the best word is warm. Somebody who feels very warm. Maybe somebody who's a little exotic, like a little, eccentric. Somebody who's a little eccentric. Again, it doesn't matter if it's male or female. I don't feel like that's the focus. I feel like it's more like there's a energy around you that is going to be more, that's going to show you warmth and show you kindness and try to help you feel happier this week. Okay, so that's good. That's great. Okay, so we have the Two of Swords, which lets us know that you're not going to really want to be in your feelings that much this week because you've got some decisions to make. You're really focusing on making the best decision, and it's like you're not focusing so much on your emotions. That's what I mean when I say feelings, but you're focusing on what feels logical to you, like what is probable instead of what's possible, which is fine, okay? And what you feel intuitively, okay? So I feel like there's a combination of a kind of more intellectual intuition that you're following this week, which is fine. Just know, though, especially when the moon's out, that we've got some hidden feelings there, and that might be worth exploring, okay? If you're really in that place where you feel like you need to close yourself off from your emotions, then I respect that, and that's fine. I just when I see this card, I'm always thinking like, gosh, sometimes sometimes the emotions do carry with it really important information that can help make a decision, because this typically comes up when there's a decision to be made. We do have the World, though, here, and we have like all of we do have the emotions kind of coming back in here, and it feels like it's really balanced and everything. So whatever it is that you're doing here, I would actually even say, and I typically wouldn't say this, I would actually even say just go ahead and keep it in that intellectual level, because whatever you're doing is getting you something that's really important this week, okay? Now, sometimes the World comes out and it's like, this is the biggest thing ever, right? And it's like, wow, you've got the world, it feels really great like that. Now, this doesn't feel as big, but it does feel like you're doing some real work in helping manifesting this, which is going to really help you feel better towards the end of the week, okay? I feel like this is going to be like, oh goodness, 6 or 7 days into the week. Okay, so keep that in mind, that it might be more towards the end than the beginning. Not for all of you, but for most of you. And it's just because of this focus that you're putting in. I mean, and this focus is good. I do also want to comment on this, that the focus also feels kind of like, when I read, I will, I'll just, excuse me, I'll just sometimes really, really get into the book, and it's like I block out the rest of the world, and somebody might come into the room and be like, oh, hey, or what do you want for dinner, or whatever, and I just jump, and I'm like, ah, because I'm just so into whatever it is that I'm doing. I kind of feel like this is the kind of focus that you are in right now. And I look at this blindfold, and it's like this sensory deprivation, and everything. It's really interesting because typically, well, in a lot of cases, this card can kind of come out as being maybe even a little negative, like you're blind to what you're supposed to do or something like that. But no, that's not what I'm getting. I'm getting that it's like you just need to get into this hyper focus, like me reading, right? You need to get into this hyper focus so you can really nail down what it is that you're going to be. So, be manifesting with this world card. And it's really interesting. Another aspect of this is that it's like you're going to be able to, it's almost like this week you're going to be going through it almost in a state of meditation at all times, because you're just so focused, and there's almost a tranquility about it, not necessarily because you're really tranquil about this outcome or anything, but it's almost like a tranquility about it because it's so still. There's just such stillness and such inner reflection going on there. It's really interesting. So we have the whip and the cross here. We have the physical body. Okay, so that I was wondering if something like this was going to come up. Let's just go ahead and put the rest of this on. We've got fertility. Okay, so we've got a nurturing aspect here, and I feel like this is a little bit bigger than the Queen of Wands, the energy here. Okay, we're talking about this would be the Empress in a traditional tarot deck, but that's not what we're talking. We're talking about fertility. So what I feel is that like you're planting a seed that's going to grow into this thing that you really, really want, or this thing that you're manifesting. Okay, and you're focusing on it. You actually might be, for those of you watching, you actually might be pregnant and focusing on nurturing that child, and that's why the physical body is coming out. But for most of you, I think that it's going to be more like you're setting your intentions, you're just concentrating on that, and you're really nurturing this thing inside of you that's going to bring to you something really, really big. And again, I get the Queen of Wands warm and caring and nurturing energy. Although I kind of feel like this is a card that's not only kind of mirroring this and saying, yes, there's going to be warm and nurturing energy around you, but I'm also getting that it's like going to be somehow this person that's giving this to you is going to also help you almost get that energy from within as well. So that's really interesting here. So we do have the lobster. I was wondering about finances since nothing had come up, and pineapple here. So the lobster can represent a financial pinch. Okay, I know that that's kind of like I understand it's a pun. I get it, but it can sometimes represent that. So you might not be feeling as strong with your finances this week. And it could be that what you're manifesting is something that will help you get more materials in the world, or get the materials you need. Okay. It could be that, but the way that I'm interpreting this, especially with the pineapple here, the pineapple represents reconciliation, like getting to a point where reconciliation can be between two people, obviously, where you're separate from one another for a while, and then you come together and you make some kind of agreement that you're going to move forward, right? But I feel like this reconciliation can also come from within when you have two opposing ideas, and it's like you have to reconcile them in order to move forward. And I feel like for some of you, this Two of Swords and this reconciliation is showing that, and the financial pinch or this lobster is also showing that it might hurt a little bit to go forward with the decision, even though you know you're going to know what you need to do. That's like, I don't even want to mess with what it is that you need to do, because you're going to figure that out. You've got to go through this process here to get there. So yeah, the physical body here, make sure that you're getting enough rest, make sure you're eating as healthy as you can, and that you're taking care of your body. I'm not getting any kind of major illness or anything for those of you who are watching, but I am getting that you're more likely to become ill this week than maybe typical. And I'm just getting it like, I'm just talking about if you have allergies, maybe your allergies are acting up a little bit more. If you, if maybe you tend to get a little bit of a cold around this time, you might end up getting a cold, that kind of thing. I'm not getting anything like really, really big, but I am getting just this kind of like the physical body being a little bit vulnerable right now. So I do want to mention that it could just be you're walking around with your eyes closed, you're in your head and everything, and whoops, there's a wall in front of you, right? So it could be something like that simple, that just, watch out, be aware of the physical reality, because, you're really spending a lot of time in your head this week. But just kind of keep in mind that you do have to put some focus into that, like, just like what I was saying, when I'm reading and somebody comes in, it's like, hey, what you want for dinner? It's like, what? I don't need to eat. I have a book, that kind of thing. It's just kind of like that. And another reason why I'm saying that is that we also have the whip followed by the cross. And I just want to say this up front. I don't think this is for most of you, but I do think it's for some of you, that some kind of repetitive action, like especially if at work or at school you do something and like there's a repetitive action though. So this would be somebody who maybe plays a musical instrument and there's a repetitive action, like maybe you play the drums and you have to hit the drums in a certain way, or if you're at work and you have to do the same thing over and over again, maybe you're doing something with a computer mouse and you just have to click over and over and over again in this one place or whatever. And I'm just getting repetitive movement being a burden. And I feel like it's like a physical burden, okay? So also be aware of repetitive stress injuries, that kind of thing, okay? Kind of getting to that point where your muscles are just kind of tensing up and you might not even really notice it. Make sure you stretch and all that good stuff, But I think that for most of you, this is just kind of going back to, this other thing here with the cross not representing a burden so much as representing reaching a spiritual understanding of what you've got to do to get to this place with the world. And with the whip is just talking about you have to apply yourself over and over again. This is not something that you can just do once and have it be done. It's like it's something that you've got to work towards. So it's like you've got to get into a state like this. And as I'm saying all of these things, I'm actually kind of stepping outside of myself, listening to myself, thinking, okay, are you serious? Is this really going to help people for them to know this? And it's like, I really hope it does, because I don't know what I personally would make of this if I personally got it. But then again, I'm not at a place right now where there's something that I need to figure out. So maybe it's just feeling a little bit weird for me because it's just not something I identify with. But it feels like you're going to just have a really... The best word I can use is like a profound week, okay? So keep that in mind. One thing I do want to say, I'm not getting a whole lot of energy surrounding like love life and stuff like that right now, at least. So for the next 7 days, I'm not getting that there's going to be so much of a focus on love, okay? So I do want to mention that. Alrighty, guys. Regardless of what the cards say, I hope you have a wonderful week. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed your reading, and I will see you later with more readings. Hi, those of you who picked the crystal point, here is your reading. Okay, so we have the Four of Pentacles, the Queen of Swords, and the Six of Pentacles. Interesting. We have recognition and reward. Okay. I've got so many crystals around here that I just want to make sure you guys know that it's your pile. I'll just put this right here. Okay, we have the Scythe and the Garden. Okay, we have self-esteem here with the third chakra. Okay, we've got Broken Bridge. Okay, and then we've got the Star. How irritating is that? It's weird because it's like getting like, these are kind of in opposition, because like a broken bridge can show that like something's going to be unsuccessful, but the Star is like guaranteed success. It's interesting. So I see a story here this week for you guys. It's going to be about money and about thinking really clearly and like making sure that you're making very practical decisions. I feel like you are going to find a way to expand your money this week. There's going to be something that you start to do. It could be that you're starting a new project at work and you're getting a raise for starting it. You know you're going to get that raise, you know, maybe you got it a week ago and now you're getting your paycheck, that kind of thing. But it's like you're going to be doing something to multiply your money, okay? And by doing this, you're going to feel a lot more, like, I feel like sometimes this can show generosity. But I feel like this little scale here over here is the more important thing, is that you're going to feel more balanced. Okay. And with that, I'm just kind of getting this picture of this feeling of insecurity, like there's not enough. And then it's like, oh, I feel more balanced, like I have enough, you know? So going from a scarcity mindset to having more. I'm being told that for some of you, this is going to be like a metaphor for another area of your life, some kind of like some area where you feel like you're not getting enough, like let's say attention, and then you're going to be able to get so much attention that you're able to be basically overflowing with that, and then wanting to give that attention to other people and that kind of stuff, and you're feeling really clear-headed as a result. You feel like you've been recognized and all of that kind of stuff. But for most of you guys, this really is going to be about money. It's going to be, and I'm not even getting material stuff. I'm actually getting like actual money. Okay. The Queen of Swords, she talks about thinking clearly. Yes, I've said that several times, but the thing about the queens is they also bring that heart wisdom in to the mix as well. So we have a nice balance between the head and the heart, and so it's a more feminine thinking orientation, okay? But that doesn't mean that it's less thinking orientation. It's people who think that women can't think are ridiculous. But and you know what? I'm reading a book that's like takes place in the 1100s, so of course I'm going to be thinking that people think that about women. But you know, back to your reading. It's like, I just feel like there's this really good marriage between very clear thinking and very clear feeling. And if you see here, we've got the sword here, and we've got the clouds in the background here, but it's like up here in the head area and the heart area is clear. And I feel like she's taking the sword and she's like cutting through, oh goodness, like she's cutting through the BS this week, okay? She's like, I'm not going to play games this week. I'm not going to waste time on worrying about things that I can't control. I'm going to be doing things that I know are going to be good for myself. So I feel like you're really in your power right now, and you're really able to reap some rewards for that. Now, this card is also talking about feedback from the general public as well. Okay, and it's interesting because I think that I understand a lot more what this broken bridge is because what we get is that we've got this recognition reward. So you're getting some kind of feedback from the public, and it's mostly good, but there's going to be some dissenting voices here, and that's where this broken bridge is. So you're going to find that somebody isn't as supportive of you as you thought that they might be. And it might actually feel really bad. It might like actually hurt. Like, owie, gosh, I thought that you liked me. What? You know, understand that the overall thing is that you have done something amazing, okay? Even if what you've done is, you know, for some of us who have chronic illness, and I'm one of them, so I identify with this. Even if what you did that was like really wow is that you got up out of bed every single day for 5 days, okay? Because some of us really, that's a challenge. I feel like there's something you need to recognize and give yourself a pat on the back for doing whatever it is that you're doing, okay? Because it's like, if you just listen to that one dissenting voice, you are going to be selling yourself so short because you've done something amazing this week, okay? So keep that in mind. I do feel like your self-esteem, like this card is kind of coming up because it's a time where you really can rejoice and celebrate what you've done, right? But at the same time, I feel like your self-esteem is a little bit nervous, okay? It's like a little bit vulnerable too. So it's one of those situations where a musician might go on stage and play like this really, really beautiful, very difficult song, and the whole audience just thinks that it's great, and you know, and all of that, and they get like, you know, they get signed onto a CD and all of that kind of stuff, but it's like the musician, all they're thinking about is that one wrong note that they played, and even though it sounded okay, it's just bothering them. I kind of feel like that's what it is. It's like your feedback, the most of the feedback is going to be so good, but you might feel a little bit prone to kind of hang on to that one negative feedback. So do keep in mind that you've done something amazing, okay? Whatever you're doing this week, it's amazing, and you know, definitely keep that in check. And that would be why there's like kind of broken bridges here, but also guaranteed success because you have succeeded. And I feel like it is some kind of like, it's some kind of success in the public because we have this recognition, right? And then we have like the scythe, but the scythe, it's like it's harvesting, you know, it harvests wheat. We've got it harvesting the garden. The garden is the public area, the common area in the Lenormand. So it typically talks about public opinion, socializing, you know, that kind of thing. And so when you've got like, you're reaping the rewards from the garden, you know, it could be that you've just got some really great flowers that are blooming early for those of you who are in the northern hemisphere, right? It could be that you've just got a really great fall harvest for those of you who are in the southern hemisphere. Or it could be that you really are reaping some major rewards from other people. If there isn't like an event this week where you are in front of the public eye, just know that you might want to insert yourself in front of the public eye. And I say that knowing that for some of us that can be really difficult and really like, why would I want to do that? That doesn't make sense. But it's like, you might want to put yourself out there because I feel like somebody's going to be able to recognize you. And again, with this, like helping to increase your money, I feel like there's some kind of opportunity there with the public. So if there's nothing else that you get from this, know that there's that. Okay, guys? All right. So regardless of what the cards say, I hope you have a wonderful week. Thank you so much for joining me for today's reading. And I will see you later on this week with a much longer reading, and on Friday with the weekly general love reading. Hi, pile number 5, those of you who picked the Jasper stone. Here is your reading. Okay, so we have the 5 of Wands. Ooh, the 5 of Swords. Then we have the Sun. Interesting. Let's see, what does this card say? We've got Transformation. Okay. So this would be the Death card. Interesting. Okay, let's keep going. We've got a letter followed by the House. Okay. Ooh, we have Expression. Okay, we have Grasshopper and we have Yoke. Oh, it's weird because it's like what I'm getting is that even though, like, on paper everything looks okay this week, which is why the sun's coming out in this week, it's like, you know, like, I'm just trying to think of a way that I can explain this. Like, okay, like if somebody was to look at your bank account and they saw that you had $2,000, right, in your bank account, and they didn't know that you had $3,000 worth of bills, like on paper, it would look like you were doing pretty good, you know, that you have a surplus of $2,000, but it's actually not good. Or it's actually a little bit more complicated than it is. I feel like on paper, it looks fine. It looks like things are okay. But in the background, there's going to just be a lot of turmoil this week. And I hate saying that. But you know what? I pick a pile every single time I do these for myself. And I picked this one, okay? So just know, this is not just a reading for you guys. This is like also about me. So hopefully that helps you feel a little bit better. But it's interesting though, because there's just a lot of small things here that's all accumulating. We do have this kind of warring energy and like a standoff between you and some other person. It's like you're in a situation with this person where things should be communicating a lot clearer. Like things should be a lot more obvious and clear and everything. But it's almost like both of you are being difficult. It's like you're like, well, I'm not going to put effort into that. This is the other person's thing. But the other person's just being weird. I can't explain other than just there's just some kind of weird vibe on their side, and understand that's them, is not you. Although, you know, you could be a little bit more direct. But yeah, I mean, I'm just getting this like, and then kind of confusion with knowing where you stand. I'm getting that for most of you, this is going to be like a boss or a teacher, okay? Like somebody that's above you, or somebody who can actually affect your life in a pretty major way, right? Although some of you, it could be a friend or your partner or something like that. But I'm getting that it's less intimate, right? I'm not getting that it's a really close situation, okay? With the 5 of Wands, it's weird when this comes up. Sometimes it talks about, you know, fighting with other people, maybe, and they're like small fights though, or like competition, stuff like that. Yeah, this is inside. Like you're having this internal battle with yourself, and like that internal battle is leading to this transformation for you. It's like you are in the act of changing, and it's almost like this person right here is not acknowledging that you're changing and you're becoming a better you, like a genuinely better you here with this transformation. But it's like you've got to go through all these growing pains. And so again, it looks great on the surface because you're getting better. You're becoming a better you, a better version of you, right? You're getting rid of some old stuff that isn't serving you, and you are, you know, continuing to grow as a human being. You know, you're leveling up. And so that's great, but it's just, it doesn't feel so great. At least not this week from what the cards are showing. But we do have expression, okay? And I think that it's really interesting that we have expression coming up and this situation where it seems like it's very difficult to communicate. It's difficult to have clear thoughts and that kind of stuff. In fact, you might feel a little fuzzy in the head this week, you know. Sometimes we just have brain fog. For those of you who are parents, you'll probably identify with this. Sometimes we have a lot of brain fog. You know, I think it's a parent thing. Like once you have a child, it's like suddenly it's like that thing where there's like those gateways, like going through a doorway will cause you to completely forget what you were doing, you know. It's weird. Gosh, sometimes I say things that I think are really weird, and like it's even weirder though, because I'll say things that I think aren't weird, and then I'll find out from comments that I said something really weird, so whatever. But anyway, like this expression thing, it's like you're gonna want to express yourself. You really are. And it's like you're not being heard though, and that's frustrating because you have a lot to say and you have a lot of things that need to come to light. not just for yourself, but it's like you've got to share this the transformative experience you're having with the world. It's like you feel like you want to do that. You want to help others because you've gone through something and you want to help them. What I would say is put this in some kind of like private setting. If you feel like you have to express yourself, maybe put it in writing, or just, type out a document, just talking about what's going on, maybe blog it, as an anonymous person. You might want to, if you're really gifted in this kind of stuff, write a song, paint a picture, do that kind of stuff. But I do feel like there's this urge to express, and I don't feel like it's wrong. I feel like it's right. It's just that you're not quite at a point where other people are going to be able to understand it. Because it's almost like you're transferring, but you're not certain what you're transforming into. It's like where you want to be, but you're not certain if you're going to be able to hit that mark, go past it, or if you're going to fall short of it. But either way, you're going to be in a better place. So let's look at this. We've got feeling down or frustrated, with the yoke. We're talking about carrying some kind of burden around here. And I'm wondering, is this burden you're carrying with you something that you have to carry? Sometimes we carry things around, like we carry around the idea that we have to do something, right? And it's actually not something we have to do, but for whatever reason, we feel responsible for this thing. You see it a lot in people who have been had trauma situations where they're carrying around some kind of guilt or some kind of experience that they feel like they need to correct, and it's almost like they're atoning for it or something. And it's a really interesting thing, because it can be very obvious when you know that that's what you're looking for, but to other people it can just be like, oh, well, that person's just a really responsible person, or oh, that person really likes that thing. But I feel like if you're feeling tied down and frustrated, is it because you've tied yourself down, or is it because you really are carrying something that you need to carry right now? I feel like that's going to be a question you got to answer yourself, okay? And it could be both. And it could be that there's some things you're carrying around that you need to let go of, and there's some things that you're carrying around that, maybe it's tiring you out, maybe it's frustrating right now, but you're going to become a better person because you're doing it, okay? And I feel like your own discernment is very, very high right now, so I feel like you're going to know that. You're going to know what that is. So with the grasshopper, we've got things that are kind of on the precipice. That it's like, it feels like walking on eggshells. Right? And I mean, gosh, it's just like these cards are not very happy, but it feels like walking on eggshells in a situation. My advice to you for this, especially if you've got this kind of energy going on, or if this conflict isn't internal, it's also external too. My advice is to withdraw from the situations that are, for whatever reason, becoming tangled up, okay? Or becoming like where you're misunderstood, or where you feel like you're kind of in this situation where the rules are all bent and weird, you just feel like you have to do things a certain way to appease maybe a person, or to appease maybe your morals, or whatever it is. It's like, remove yourself from that situation for a little bit, because I feel like when things are kind of precarious about being in the balance, it's better to withdraw and allow things to self-correct than it is to try to impose your will on it in order to get it to correct itself. Now, this is what I am telling you from my own personal experiences. It's just that it's almost like when I see a situation that needs fixing and I try to fix it, it's almost like I do more damage than if I had just left it alone. And I feel like this is one of those situations, which is why it's like, ooh, be careful. Because it's like, I feel like the situation is one of those things where they're saying, oh, be careful, because maybe that's not your calling. Maybe there's a need there for something to be fixed, but it's not up to you to fix it. Somebody else needs to fix it, okay? So keep that in mind too. Interestingly enough, we have some kind of message coming to your house. For some of you, this might actually be unexpected money, which is, I'm not getting anything that lets me know that that's money. When I touch it, I feel like it's money. Okay. So, and I like to be very transparent about why I'm getting what I'm getting. And I'm just being transparent that it's pure intuition that's telling me this. For some of you, it's going to be communication, from someone, and for all the difficulty you might have communicating for other people, whatever this communication is, it's going to be very, it's going to be obvious. It's going to be very refreshing. It's a positive. This is a positive letter, okay? And again, it doesn't have to be a letter. It could be like a text message. It could be an email, and all of that. Obviously, this deck is based on a deck that was created, I think, in the late 1800s. So, I mean, you've got to kind of remember that technology has moved quite a bit since then. But yeah, it's some kind of message that you're getting. That you are comfortable bringing your own inner circle into. It's like it's something you want to celebrate with your like core people, your bestest friends, and that kind of stuff, because you want to bring that into the home. You want to bring that into your personal space so that it can help uplift you and all of that kind of stuff. So I do feel like this is a positive thing. I'm just wondering here how much of this stuff that's a little bit more difficult, how much of this is stuff that really is yours to fix and how much isn't, that kind of thing. And I feel really compelled to tell a little bit of a story, or to give a little bit of an example of something, because I really feel, and also Spirit's like, please tell them this. I really feel it's important for a lot of you guys to hear this. So some people have grown up in weird situations, or in situations where they've been more prone to disruption, and having trauma responses, and being in relationships that have not served them. And as a result, they've got a little bit of a distorted idea about the way the world should work. Okay. I think that almost everybody at one point or another gets into a situation where things are going in a way that's not healthy, right? But I feel like this is a situation that comes up, and it's probably come up for you guys, where you've been in a situation where it's just really not been healthy, and you've come out of it with this kind of mixed up way of understanding the way the world should work. And so you're kind of playing by rules that were appropriate in this unhealthy situation, but that unhealthy situation isn't here anymore. And then there's also people, and sometimes there's both, right? There's also people that, because of whatever thing that's going on inside of them, maybe they have a disability, maybe they have a mental illness, maybe they have a chronic illness, maybe there's something like that going on. They know that they're different. And so when they're put into quote unquote normal situations, right? And when they're put into situations and they're not normal, they can't figure, they have this idea that they're so weird that the reason that whatever situation's going on is difficult because they have challenges, because they have a mental illness, because they have a disability, because they have some kind of chronic illness, and it's just more difficult for them because this is life. But in both cases, right, and again, sometimes it's both, right, you've got a person in a situation that's not healthy thinking that it is, okay? And I feel like this walking on eggshells feeling, this inner conflict and this transformation and this like issue with miscommunication here and kind of having maybe a little bit of cloudy thoughts, I feel like it's connected to whatever situation you may or may not have been in, especially recently, if something comes to mind, where you found yourself having to do something or act in a certain way that you thought was normal but didn't feel normal. There was just something inside of it that's like, this makes me feel bad, but I think that maybe there's something wrong with me, and so I'm trying to make myself feel better by doing this. Like, for example, some people will get in situations that are very, very unhealthy for them, but because they don't know any better, they'll feel like they're unhinged. They'll feel like they are just, a complete, like, they're starting drama. They're just in this horrible place, right? And they're a horrible person when it really is they're in an unhealthy situation and acting unhinged, causing quote unquote drama. That's the appropriate situation, right? That's the appropriate reaction to that situation. So understand that if you're feeling down about yourself about something that has to do with that, I feel like there's some kind of answer there that pertains to this particular transformation for you guys. And I get, I'm sorry about rambling. I know some people really hate that, but it's just really felt important for me to share that with you with the hopes that that might resonate somewhere for you guys, so that you can kind of get a little bit more perspective. Because again, it's like with the sun coming out, this is a happy card. A lot of people say this is the happiest card in the entire deck, right? I personally prefer the Hermit because I am an introvert, but the Sun, I mean, this is a great card. And one would think that even though all of this, when we've got the Sun, like nothing can go wrong, I just feel like you have a way of being healthy that maybe you're either rejecting or you don't even realize. And so I do think that that's an important thing to include in this particular reading, and it's pure psychology, for you guys to get on that path where you're transforming so quickly that you get there and all of the negativity just washes away and you've leveled up and you're just on your path and you're feeling great, so please keep all of this stuff in mind. I would even say you might want to go back and re-watch this video, because there's just so much information in this particular video for this pile. Okay, guys? Regardless of what the cards say, I hope you have a wonderful week. I hope you find that sunshine. I hope that letter is awesome, or that message, whatever you're getting there. And just know that I have, I'll be posting another video sometime between now and Friday. And on Friday, of course, there's the weekly love reading. So don't miss out on that. Thank you so much. And I will see you in my next video. Hi, those of you who picked the Amethyst. Here is your reading. Oh, gosh. I'm almost angry with you guys because the last pile was so negative and you guys have it so easy, or at least so far it looks like you do. We've got the Empress, we've got the Chariot, and we've got the Six of Wands. Look at that. Success, success, success. You're being taken care of. You're moving forward. We've just got a lot of positive movement here. Oh, goodness. We've even got the Fish. We've got money. We've got the Sun, which just is interesting because in Lenormand, even if the surrounding cards aren't Lenormand cards, it still improves the positivity about all the other cards involved in the reading. So every single one of these cards is amplified now because we've got the Sun. We've got Divine Consciousness. You are on a roll. You're going to have an awesome one. Okay, this is good. It's not good, but I mean, there is going to be this area where you are feeling a little disconnected. It feels to me, though, because we have disconnect and boredom, it feels to me kind of it's like things are going so well that it's almost like you're looking at your life and you're feeling like it's not even your life because it's going so well. I hear that people who are end up becoming sports champions, or people who end up being actors, or people who've been writing their whole lives that finally get published maybe in their 30s or 40s, and they're like, what? I feel this way because it feels like it's happening. It's not happening to them. It feels like whatever they've achieved is happening to someone else. And I kind of get that feeling from this, that you might feel a little disconnected from yourself just because things are moving really fast and things are just so positive this week. We do have a wall. So that can sometimes show a misunderstanding, but I feel like the wall is more like there's some kind of blocked off area here. And then we have the Forest. So muddled, unclear thinking. So this is an interesting combination. And again, remember, we have the sun, so this wall is less tall, it's less imposing, and the muddled and unclear thinking with the forest is not as muddled, not as unclear, and the disconnection isn't as bad, the boredom isn't as bored. So just kind of keep that in mind, because we do have the sun here in the Lenormand, and that's just the way the sun works in the Lenormand. So let's go ahead and start here, because this is very clear. You've been working hard on something. Maybe you haven't even been working that hard on it, but you just really care about it. So you have started taking action on this. I feel like for some of you, this isn't just this week. It's like you've been taking action, and this week you're going to continue taking action. You're going to start seeing some success, though. You're going to start getting that return on whatever investment you made. Like if you planted some seeds, you're going to start seeing them sprouting, that kind of thing. I just feel like you're moving forward, and you're seeing how that forward movement is manifesting in your life. Okay, so you're in control of your own success, and you feel good about it. I feel like there's this kind of sense of very appropriate, like almost oh goodness, what can I call this? It's a very appropriate pride almost in yourself. It's like you do have something to be proud of, though, because you've achieved something. And so we have this, even if there isn't an obvious achievement this week, we do have this movement forward, and it's positive, very, very positive movement forward. With the Empress, we also have that abundance associated with it, okay? Not only the abundance, but also the nurture. So like like I said, it's something you care about. And again, it's something that you're starting to see some rewards, because with the Six of Wands, that's talking about success. With the Empress, we're talking about kind of like harvesting and that kind of stuff. Sometimes she's portrayed as a cornucopia. I believe, I just wanted to make sure before I said it. I don't know if these are, I believe that these are pomegranates, which is a symbol for abundance. But even if it's not pomegranates, it's something else. It looks like pomegranates to me. I can't believe I can't remember if it's pomegranates or not. Looks like that camera is just not gonna, oh, there it goes. It's focusing in on it. Anyway, because it could be tulips or something. The Empress does show abundance, though. That's an important part of this. Oftentimes she's depicted as pregnant. She's depicted as someone who is just bursting forth with this abundance and this creativity and this motherly care, because she is a motherly card. And when I say motherly, I mean a divine mother, not a human mother that can make mistakes. We're talking about the divine, the ideal mother. So we've got this really nurturing, warm, abundant energy here that's almost like it's taking care of you. So some of you guys, this might point to like a guide even, or maybe someone who's passed over that's watching over you, that kind of thing. Because it feels like there's a force that's helping you with this, okay? And it doesn't feel like it's an earthly force. It doesn't feel like it's somebody, like the Empress represents a person, although it could, but it just doesn't feel like that to me. It also feels like you could be cultivating this energy from within yourself too. With the disconnect and boredom, though, I feel like it's just, when I touch it, what I'm getting is that it's like this stuff is so demanding of your time, what you're doing and how you're moving forward. There's like, you don't really have time for anything else. And because of that, you're feeling a little just off balance, because the way that a usual week goes allows you to have more balance in other areas of your life, but this week is really demanding you to move forward and to get this stuff done. Okay, so we've got that going on here. We do have a potential for a misunderstanding with this wall, but I think it's just a continuation of the disconnect and boredom, especially when I'm touching it. I'm just getting, no, this is just like this person, like the people that pick this pile, even though you're feeling really great and you're doing good things, it's like you're separated from something. You're separated maybe from a person. It does feel like isolating, like it's almost like you're not around like someone that you want to share this with, that kind of thing. So I feel like there's some kind of separation there. And then with the forest, it's interesting because I get two interpretations of this. Yes, there's the muddled thinking, but I'm also getting that there's this kind of almost wild abandon when it comes to what you're moving forward with. Like, and it's not like this kind of feeling, it doesn't feel like it's a risk. It's not like, you know, oh yeah, I'm going to just do whatever and I'm going to magically be successful. It actually feels like you're just putting, like, with the wands here, you're putting your passion into it. You like I said, you care about it. You're putting your passion into it. You're being really creative. You're putting your all into it, and with this kind of wild abandon, this wild trust that you know it's going to get good. So whatever you want to move forward with this week, if there isn't something already there, if it's something you care enough about and something that you put your heart into, you will be successful, or you will at least move forward. But we do have success, and we have the sun, which is a very strong indicator of success. So we've got the Empress. We also have the fish. The fish represent abundance. They come in schools. That's why that imagery is for abundance, because, you know, if you have one coin, right, you know, and that's one fish, you know, if a fish comes in schools, then that's going to suddenly multiply. Basically, what we're talking about is that you are going to have a lot of resources at your disposal to continue to move forward. Okay, so the resources could be money, the resources could be something else, but it's helping you to continue to move forward. I just feel like you're really progressing. There's just this kind of feeling of loneliness, this kind of sense that there's someone that you want to be around, or someone you want to share this with, and this kind of maybe feeling a little bit nervous or wondering where you stand with that person. You know, I read a quote yesterday. It was an interesting quote, and I can't claim that I even understand it fully, but what I read was, if you're wondering where you stand with someone, that's where you stand. And I was like, It's like some people, it's like because they don't know where you stand with them, or maybe they're unwilling to tell you, that's where you stand with them, is that they don't know, you know what I mean? So it could be a situation where the misunderstanding is that you think that you don't have access to them, but you actually do. I feel like there might be a misunderstanding if this is a person, that you're kind of isolated from that. So we've got divine consciousness. Like, this is a pretty big deal card, okay? We're talking about the crown chakra. We're talking about your direct link to that kind of, we're talking about your direct link to God, your direct link to whatever creative force in the universe has your back, basically, right? For those of you who are watching it the day this goes up, or the week it goes up, understand that we do have the full moon coming, and that does represent getting what we want for this moon cycle, right? And so being in that creative energy with the Empress and moving forward and being successful, and the sun and the fish and all of that stuff would be appropriate to that time. But for those of you who are watching, 100 years from now, it could be the same kind of thing and doesn't have anything to do with the full moon. I'm just aware of it right now because I've been aware of the moon lately. But yeah, this divine consciousness is letting us know that it's almost like you're channeling energy. It's almost like you're doing God's will, or you're doing the will of the universe. You're doing Spirit's will, that kind of thing. Use whatever word you use. And by doing that, you are able to accomplish so much more. So it's almost like you're a little mini god or goddess right now, and you are just getting things done. And yeah, I could definitely see why there might be a little bit of a disconnect between yourself and other people if you're if you've got this God energy surrounding you and you're fully in your power, because most people aren't in this energy all the time, right? And I don't even feel like you necessarily are going to be in this energy all the time, but sometimes we hit those times in our lives where just things are going really well. And I feel like this week is going to be one of those times for you. All right. Just be aware that there could be something kind of lurking in the background that has you feeling a little discontent. And ask yourself, is the reality true, or is it just what you're perceiving? Because I feel like there could be a misunderstanding here. All right, guys? You know, regardless of what the cards say, I hope you have a wonderful week. In fact, these cards are so great. I hope that the cards are right. Thank you so much for watching. And I will see you at the next pick a card reading. Thank you.